Hi friends, this is Deepak Chawla here on behalf of Tell Me a Story. So I have been into the corporate world for about 32 years, into academics now. I've been an author and a poet. And today on this platform of TYMS, as we call it, I'm really delighted to have a very good old friend of mine, Tarun Chugh. So Tarun is MD and CEO of Bajaj Allianz Life Insurance Limited. And he's been a friend for very long. Welcome, Tarun, on the show.
Always good to interact with you, Deepak. I'm surprised you said very long. I think with you, it's never long.
Yeah, so for the viewers and just to get the connect right, Tarun and I have known each other since, I guess, 1997, which is about 23 years now. At the time when he was an investment banker and we were looking at an investment opportunity from the organization where I was working, and we worked together. And then he moved on in life, and he's done several stints in the investment banking, and he's now a don in the insurance industry in the country and perhaps making waves in the world as well. So welcome, Tarun.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Deepak. And it's always good to connect with you. I know 20x years, but it doesn't seem like that. And whenever it's you, it's always lovely to interact.
Thanks, Tarun. This is very sweet of you. And for our viewers, just to give a bit of his academic background, Tarun is a IIT Delhi graduate, and he's done his management from IIM Lucknow. And he's had a very interesting journey. And ever since I have known him, he has moved from places to places. And I'm sure as he's kept on moving, he's got a lot of stories that he can relate to, which have been turning points in his life, and which could also be very interesting and very useful and very inspirational to our viewers. So Tarun, would like to know from you some of those one or two very interesting stories in life which have shaped you, which have inspired you when you look back and you would like to share with our viewers.
Yeah, thanks, Deepak. So see, it's when you are an investment banker and you've been through the kind of journey I've been with, there's stories and stories and stories. So, when you reached out to me, I just thought, which ones am I going to be talking about? There are a few to pick from, and finally, yeah, there are two stories that I'll share with you.
Sure.
And largely they happen around the same time. So I must say that in my career, post September 11th, so 2001, when the World Trade Tower came down, I think those 2 years are possibly game-changing years in my life.
All right.
Yeah, so both these stories are actually in that era. And I say era because it kind of shifted a lot of things for me, and I was able to take a lot of significant calls in my career. So the first one was, I used to be, I think I used to do pretty well as an investment banker. I'd always been one. That's when we met, of course. I was working with the French bank BNP Paribas. And I used to be nicely pampered as bankers at that time, and even now are actually.
Yeah, absolutely. The most pampered lot.
Oh, I agree with you. So, and now I can agree with you more, because I'm not an investment banker anymore.
So I have students in my college who really are MBA finance guys and aspire to be investment bankers. So I guess it would do well for them also to listen to your story.
Yeah. So see, but investment banking, they should know, is a very whirlwind kind of a thing. There's, it's not just you just see the glory only, but there is crests and there is troughs, and it's linked to the markets, linked to sentiments. So something like that is what happened to me after September 11th. 11 investment banks shut down in a space of 2 weeks in India. Usually the European and the American ones, because they didn't see the world positive for a few years, and which was correct. For a couple of years, it was quite negative. And then we used to be working for BNP Paribas, doing a lot of deals. We suddenly got a call, and this is quite dramatic, from a gentleman called Jean-Michel Doublet, who was a French overall investment banking head. And we were called into this lovely room, which we were, actually doing up. We spent $1 million in doing up that place. And we were called into this round mahogany table set room. And Jean told us very clearly that thank you for your services. It was great to have you around, but we decided to shut India, and this will be your package. He told us the formula, and then he said security has already come in. They've already taken over your laptops and computers. Please hand over your mobiles. And we used to have sometimes car keys from the office. Please leave your car keys there. Come back in 3 hours, and we'll talk to you, and that's it. Thank you. So that's what happened. And
I remember having read in the Economic Times that morning, and then I called you later in the evening to check out what's happening, buddy.
Yeah, so it's a different thing going through it, you know. So we were a happening couple with one small baby at that time. My younger one, my elder one now, was about 3 years old. We used to live in Bandra, which is all good. And but suddenly this happened to us, and the world came crashing down. In 2001, it was not normal to lose in that era, in our time, and mentally maybe for us as well. It was really tough. And, you know, people in the building, I used to be feeling funny going to see them because this is a happening couple, which is not going to happen anymore. You feel sometimes guilty for all these things yourself. But there's nothing that you could have done, but you feel guilty. There was no job available in the market. For 3 months, I did not have a job. And I used to be in my kurta pajamas most of the time at home. And then there used to be these incidences, you know, that still kind of weigh heavily on my head. Is my son would come and check me out and say, before going to school, Papa, you're not going to school? School nahi ja rahe aap? And it used to be, that used to hit me, you know, because
Can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, but he was used to getting up and going at 7:30 in the morning and not seen till the evening. My first break, which I didn't want actually, and then it was the buy in the house. You know, she'd look down the aisle. She still works for us, incidentally, and she would, you know, I could see in her eyes कि साहब घर पे बैठे हैं 12 बज गए, and you know, so will she have a job? My driver used to be all right. I used to have a car, good car, and but then, you know, I decided that I was not earning anything. I'm not going to spend much either, and just going to remind myself that I have to learn to live the hard time because this could carry on. So for all my interviews and wherever I would travel from Bandra, I would actually get onto the train, not first class, regular compartment, go for my interviews, suited, booted, to just remind myself that, Tarun, you're not earning anymore. So just kind of be grounded. That was a huge experience. It got me a lot of time to reflect. It got me a time to just think, look at life holistically, and the whole concept of luck and what can go wrong sometimes when you don't really intend anything and you've got nothing to do with it, destiny, whatever these things. At the same time, you know, gave me a huge ability to carry the stress and still carry on daily, get up in the morning and once in a week go for these interviews if somebody was willing to see you. So it was tough. It was really, really tough. But I must say, a part of me enjoyed as well. We became members of small gymkhana here, and I learned how to swim.
Wow. So at that stage in life,
Yes, I used to be afraid of water, never swam. I know when I was a child, I thought that's the only time I swam, and then I thought I kind of drowned that time, but I didn't. I'm there in front of you. But then I did swim, so it was fun. And that's what I like about that. So I could reskill myself and reorient myself.
So actually, we are in different times today when job losses are not very uncommon over the last few years because the whole ecosystem has changed. But back then in 2001, when, you know, we have such kind of things were not heard of in India, where jobs were pretty much secure. And today it is, and particularly in these COVID times, there are so many job losses. So what is it that you would like to tell our viewers that who would probably be facing these kind of turbulent times as things unfold in the coming months. So what is it that you would like to give as a message to them from your experience of those days?
The message I would give to people who are watching this is that they should have belief, have faith in whatever they've done. It's not that there's something wrong with you. It's not that something's wrong with them. It's not that they have to blame themselves. It has just happened at this point in time in COVID. There is going to be a lot of things that are not because of you. So don't blame yourself. Come back, use this opportunity, reskill, and you will come back. It's not so difficult. If I could, you can. Anybody can.
Yeah, that's right. Very interesting, Tarun. And as we said, times have changed, and there are so many opportunities available and so many avenues available to reskill yourself. And with the coming times, you will have so many more skills to develop that may no longer have been even heard of in the past, and which could be coming relevant in the times to come.
Right.
So this is one of those times, Tarun, which you said that it just happened to you. But I know you're a man who makes things happen also. So I would like to ask you to reflect on some of those things which you really made happen, and through your belief, as you said, it's a belief, it's your value system, it's something that is within you, a voice within you which tells you to do it. So maybe something of that, which is a story which can be shared with our viewers.
Yeah. So I should, in fact, like I said, this period of 2001 to 2003 was the one which was a game changer time. So this other bit that happened was just after after this. So I had, like I said, I'd lost my job and there was nothing available. But then there was this silver lining that suddenly came up. There was a dynamic CEO of a mid-size tech company in India, and he in his company there was no banking and financial services vertical. So he hired the investment bankers from BNP Paribas.
Okay.
After 3 months, 3 months on the road, and suddenly you get this job. And sent all over the world. So me and my family, we went to London, and we just were told, given a mandate to set up a banking and financial services vertical. And he sent some investment bankers and he sent some techies. So there was a mix of. For me, it was a big change. I've never been outside of India in terms of really living and building a career. The tech sector was unknown. I'd always been an investment banker. They say once an investment banker, forever an investment banker.
Absolutely.
So this was one of those moments that happened to me. I joined them, pretty much almost sold everything I had in Bombay, and then went with my family and my son. And then it's not that things were great in London. So while I had a good time, we used to travel to Europe, we used to take those trips. But then there was no business in the market. And it was a new sector. So I was really learning the ropes. So one of the things that suddenly happened that 3rd of September, that was a very important day I still remember, was the day, it was 6 months and we had to get our confirmation.
Okay.
And so there was this techie who had gone and I had gone, and he was handling the UK and I was handling the rest of Europe, continental Europe. And he got his confirmation and I did not get my confirmation.
Oh.
And here you are in Britain, you've just left everything, you've got nothing else to go by. And what do? You have a son, you've got, and every day you come back to office thinking that, boss, do I have my job? And I've already been through that, mind you, some time back. So it's not, and this is a no man's land.
Not again.
Yeah. So I got really, really stuck at that time. And a lot of stress. So I did two things. I was very clear that I didn't really want to be in London in a sector that I didn't want to be in. So I tried to get back to India. So I had one leg on the boat back to India, and on the other I was just trying to make. Ultimately, somebody's employed you, right? If they did,
absolutely.
Then you have to make yourself worth it. So, I believe my favorite position in my life when I really recoil back and really hunker down is the underdog position.
Oh.
I was an underdog that time. I was
Mm-hmm.
kind of written off, and there was just people who used to believe, "Ye kaun investment banker aage, will they be able to do anything? Why is this experiment even running?" And so on and so forth. And you always have, people who would always doubt, and I would if I was in their place. But then, like I said, we used my brain smartly, searched the market, did a lot of different things, and hallelujah, something great happened. So I was able to get a transaction of $1 million, which, by the way, at that time was huge, because my Sahpati, the guy who was in the techie, was getting the 10,000, 15,000 pounds, and I got £1 million order from a Finnish company with Danish people who were heading the company, with a back end near Nice. Sort of like one hell of a thing, and was able to get them this order, and everybody was zapped. And when I remember this thing came in my email box was 3rd of December, so exactly 3 months. Took me those 3 hard months of trying to get something and make something out of what I had. And the same day, I also got my offer from ICICI Securities on 3rd of December. And that is destiny. And immediately I put my papers down. And all was shocked, and there was this huge bonus that I was supposed to make in the UK. And if I just till March, I would have got it. But I'd made up my mind. So, and also another thing happened the same day the order came from this company in Europe. I also got my confirmation, which was incidentally backdated 3rd of September.
Okay.
So it was sitting in Bracknell, Bracknell is a place just outside of London. Southwest. So it came from Bracknell, and they said that, look, this is your confirmation. Please go ahead. I had a visa. I had a work visa available from. There's a highly skilled migrant program visa that is there in Britain. I got that. I actually didn't need the job. I could have still, worked without a visa, without the company visa. But then I decided to come back to India, and a lot of things came right for me. It just, so that's the time I made things happen, if I may, and then maybe,
So, I mean, at a time when you had a £1 million order, a huge bonus, a visa in which you did not have to be bound by any company at that point of time, you had a choice whether to come back to India and join ICICI and here, whether to stay back and explore greater opportunities. So I think it's a combination of, as I would say, head, heart, and guts, that you take a choice, you make a decision, and then hoping that that decision comes through. But the moot point is that you've got to take decisions, you've got to follow your gut. And that's what, so like in the first instance that you mentioned, life happened to you, and here you made life happen. And really took some decision where was maybe leaving that money was not an easy decision. You having disposed of everything here, gone there, and with such huge amount of money coming to your table, to leave it on the table and go back is really needs some kind of conviction. So Tarun, you've had a very long stint with the ICICI, and then now you're with Bajaj. And one of the things, if we Google you and you're synonymous with, is the plankathons. How did this crazy idea of a plankathon come to you?
So,
and maybe you can just explain to our viewers what a plankathon actually is.
Yeah, so plankathon actually is not there in the Oxford Dictionary. It's a word that we've invented. We've taken the thon from marathon. So, and plank is basically nothing but a plank position while doing your exercises. So plank-a-thon. So that's how the word came up. So see, we were launching this health product, and in health and wellness, we were trying to make a mark and trying to get in. And I mean, we always had this thing that we wanted to do something which is out of the ordinary and make an impact so one thing that came in my head was that, if somebody was to do a plank, and the plank came in because, our customer base was a pretty wide customer base. A 25-year-old could buy a health product to a 55, 60-year-old as well. So we wanted to choose a wellness exercise, which would, and we had like hundreds of choices. So we finally chose a plank because anybody and everybody can do it. Even if you have diabetes or you have heart diseases, anything, you can still do a plank. And it's a very useful because it stabilizes your body, your core. So that's how we chose the plank.
Even I've started doing it after seeing your plankathon.
That's good, but you should post your pictures as well.
I'll do that.
So then what we did was, we said, like, can we make a mark which is different and, really, really big? And the idea came that somebody just searched through the Guinness World Book and figured out that there was this concept of plankathons there. And we figured out that China, Beijing, actually had the maximum number in the holding an abdominal plank together in one location.
Okay.
They had some
at one location.
And at one location. So they had 1,700 people. So then we said, look, this is something we can make a difference on. And this would also bring, there's this big patriotic thing that India would be in the map as well.
Yeah.
That
and beat China. And beat China.
And beat China. And this is the time we are talking China, right? So it kind of came out together. So we went ahead and we first did this in Pune and then followed it up with another plankathon in Bombay. And every year we've been doing it. And we have about 2,500 people who came together in Bombay BKC and in the MMRDA grounds. And we had a brand ambassador, Anil Kapoor, there with me.
Wow.
And we broke the world record there because 2,500 people actually stood in the plank position in one place.
Wow. That's really amazing. So
it helped us in the brand as well, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I said. If I look out for you, or if anybody after this goes and searches you in Google, you and Plankathon would probably go synonymous in this space.
And what we've done with this, Deepak, was that anybody who held a plank and posted their picture, for every person, we used to contribute a certain amount to the Olympians because there was Olympics expected this year, of course, because of COVID. We actually were able to donate 1 crore rupees.
Wow.
Because of the plankathon for budding Olympians who are unable to find trainers, who are unable to find kits and venues for training and getting ready for the Olympics.
That's really so good. So good. So Tarun, what our viewers would have known from you today is that you had a situation where you had no control on. You had a situation where you had to make choices. And here you have created a world record by doing something which nobody had thought of. So it's all within your belief and conviction that you really said about. And the most important thing which I have learned from you in this session today is the kind of perseverance and hard work. You've got to be pushing. You've got to be learning new skills. And that is something that keeps on making you forward. So keep working, keep pushing, and things will happen to you. So I think that's been an interesting session for us. And thank you, Tarun, for being with us, and wishing you all the very best. Thank you so much, Tarun.
Thank you so much, Deepak. Like I say, you are one person who can take the best out of me. And, every time I narrate the story and I relive it, I also learn something about myself.
That goes. It's, a constant learner. So I'd say always a learner, always a leader. So that's the leader for you. So on behalf of TYMS, tell me your story. Thank you once again for your stories.
Thank you, Deepak.